my name is Jacqueline Baeza-Rubio, and I go by Jackie. I was just elected the undergraduate representative for the National Society of Hispanic Physicists. With my leadership role, I can now be a role model to undergrads in physics, a role model specifically for Latinas, Chicanas, and Hispanic women alike. I started research here as a high schooler, so I think this is my 4th or 5th year doing research in this lab, and most of my work is actually here behind me. But I attended a high energy and particle physics camp here at UTA as a sophomore, run by now my boss, Dr. Jones. And since then, I had a little taste of physics and I haven't had that hunger satiated yet. Definitely a great person. He's constantly telling me to get rid of my imposter syndrome because we all have that. But most importantly, he gave me a chance. During that camp, I learned those skills, and everything I have learned since, all of my technical skills I've learned here in this lab, all of my skills that I can now apply on other jobs, it's all thanks to being in this lab. And it was just because of one simple opportunity of saying, you seem like you want to learn, and I did. But he could have picked the genius to the left or to the right of me, and instead he picked the one that wanted to learn. So if I could do it, and if I could learn physics in a lab and instead of in a classroom, I'm pretty sure anyone can. It's been my happiest accident because I accidentally signed up for that camp thinking it was an intro level camp, and it definitely wasn't. I study something called a neutrino. A neutrino is one of the 17 elementary particles that govern our universe. When I first actually joined the group and I attended this physics camp, I thought there was nothing more than electrons, protons, and neutrons. And Dr. Jones blew my mind away when he said, oh yeah, protons and neutrons are made up of other things called quarks. What's a quark? So I had to learn about these elementary particles, and there's 17 of them. Neutrinos are actually 3 of them, but they can oscillate between flavors, meaning that there's 3 different types, but they can change what they are spontaneously. Neutrinos are very special. They're quite weird. They're nicknamed the ghost particle because they rarely and weakly interact with matter. Billions and billions are going through you every second, and they're passing through you undetected. So we have to build very, very complicated machines such as time projection chambers in order to see their interactions with matter. My colleagues and I work for the next experiment. What the next experiment is looking for is it's looking for a rare and hypothetical decay called neutrinoless double beta decay. And I know that's a mouthful, but basically this decay, neutrinoless double beta decay, would only happen if and only if neutrinos are their own antiparticle. So let's take a step back. The most famous matter and antimatter particle pair is the electron and the anti-electron, also known as the positron. When these come together, they annihilate each other. However, they're exactly the same in spin and mass. The only thing that's different is their charge. One is positively charged and one is negatively charged. However, neutrinos are neutrally charged. That and a lot of other quantum mechanics that I can't explain actually gives us some motivation to think that neutrinos are their own antiparticle. If that is true, neutrinos would actually produce this interaction, neutrinoless double beta decay. And if we see that in the next experiment, we can confirm that neutrinos are something called a Majorana particle, meaning that it's matter and antimatter at the exact same time. Yeah, we're on the forefront of science, quite literally. We're inventing new technologies every day, or trying to. Behind me, the time projection chamber, it's called an optical time projection chamber because we're trying to modify the original concept of the TPC and see if we can actually videotape, like record with the camera, the actual decay happening. So this is our prototype here. However, we'll have more prototypes at Argonne National Lab, as well as our next experiment over in Canfranc, Spain. So yes, we're at the forefront of science, at least in neutrino physics. My dad really likes science. A lot of my memories with him are just watching science documentaries. However, he dropped out of school pretty early on in his career. He didn't finish high school, if I remember correctly. So now that I'm able to actually show the science that I'm doing here and come back and say, look at all this cool new stuff that you didn't know about and I didn't know about either, but we're learning together, and it's lots of fun. I knew I wanted to be a STEM kid, but didn't know exactly if I wanted to be an engineer or maybe something in biology or chemistry. And once I got to biology, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing ever. Then I got to chemistry and I was like, wow, biology sucks. Chemistry's awesome. And then I met Dr. Jones and I was like, no, physics is king. Yeah, he very much ignited my love for physics, and that it's impressive to see how much I've, I guess, changed my thought, because I thought these other subjects were the coolest thing, and not to diss on them, but most of my questions that I found super profound or moving, philosophical almost, always came from physics. And being a part of answering those questions that don't have answers, and being the person to answer them, I think that's pretty cool. It's a wonderful opportunity I have here. My modern physics teacher, Ramon Lopez, was actually the past president and just told me, hey, there's this organization. Did you know about it? No, I don't, but I would like to be a part of it. Well, we're actually holding elections right now, and I decided to run thanks to Dr. Lopez. I'm an official member of the board. When I first started my college search and looking at different universities for research, I didn't know where to go to, and I had a lot of struggles that I had a lot of decisions to make that really, really depended on how my family would react. I am a first-generation college student, so the first thing on my parents' minds was, how are we going to afford this? We're probably not going to be able to. And another thing is, it's probably too hard for you. To this day, I still get, why did you choose this? This is really hard. Are you sure you want to continue? And I wholeheartedly say yes. Now that I have a support group, I can say that. 4 years ago, when I didn't, I would be a little more unsure of that answer. So now, what I plan to do with my leadership position is try to see if I can relate to other undergrads that seem to have similar backgrounds. If I could provide that help that I needed when I was just starting undergrad, I think I would feel fulfilled. I would feel fulfilled. Hopefully I can help others navigate their cultural issues if they have any.